Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be a video response to Backwoods Metal, his Sloppy Seconds contest. Another contest I've been meaning to catch up on, or video I should say, I've been meaning to catch up on the past couple weeks. And got a chance this afternoon and went in and kind of pulled out a few things. So just want to jump in and kind of pay my respects to your channel. Congratulate you on the contest. Congratulate you on your subs. And I was definitely very happy that I stumbled across Farley Retro Fan Cave, his video response to your contest. And when I saw his response, I kind of followed it back and found the video and found your channel, all that great stuff. So yeah, man, glad to be on board, and I'm going to do a response to your Sloppy Seconds contest, which was basically asking us to show some records where the follow-up maybe wasn't quite as good as the debut. Hence Sloppy Seconds. So I picked out, I think you asked for 5, and I just kind of grabbed stuff that popped in my head, and I think I pulled out maybe 6 here, 6 or 7, something like that. But yeah, just kind of show you what I have. And I want to stress too that, the way I had to kind of look at it was that the follow-up album that wasn't quite as good as the first album, where some people pulled some albums that they thought just kind of sucked, but most of the follow-ups that I have here are freaking great albums that most bands would kill to have as part of their discography. So that's kind of the standard for the Sloppy Second. It's just not quite up to par with the debut. Let's just kind of jump right into it. And I actually pulled out both albums on most of them here, so I'll kind of give you the one that is the awesome debut and then the follow-up that counts as the Sloppy Second. So we'll start off here with a classic band, which is MC5. And of course, this is the one and only Kick Out the Jams. Awesome freaking album, awesome track, self-titled track right there. Definitely my favorite by them. And just a a very, very good up in your face, kind of a fresh rock and roll type album of the time. Especially the song Kick Out the Jams. Again, it's just absolutely fantastic. So of course that was followed by, which goes to the Sloppy Seconds, the MC5 Back in the USA, which again is a great album without question, but is it on the same level as Kick Out the Jams? Not in my opinion. Next we'll move along to the debut album, which was so fantastic, Audio Slave. And of course this was again Chris Cornell doing his amazing vocal thing. So many great songs on here. You have songs like a Stone, which is really the first big hit that brought me to Audio Slave. That was kind of the first song I knew by them. Then you have other great songs like Gasoline and Set It Off, and then you have songs like Show Me How to Live, which I think is one of the best vocal performances in a song by Chris. And that's saying a lot, of course, as we know all the fantastic stuff that he has. But that build up and Show Me How to Live, and when he goes into the chorus on that song, it literally sounds like his voice is connected to some like metal muff pedal or whatever, where his voice is almost like more gritty and distorted than even the guitars and everything playing on top of it. And I'm not talking about volume level. I mean, it's just that grit power that he had. And it just completely shows itself on Show Me, the chorus of Show Me How to Live. And so I've always thought this album, it's like my favorite Audio Slave album, and it just packs all kinds of punches. So when you look at the follow-up, I have to kind of put that as a Sloppy Second. Audio Slave, Out of Exile. And again, this is a great album. This is a really, really good album. So probably has one of my top 5 Audio Slave songs, which is Be Yourself. And again, Chris doing his smooth vocal thing on that one. Not as much power as much as his, I'm not going to say tone control. I don't know all the proper terminology to use, but just the way he shifts back and forth between tones and emotions on that song Be Yourself is just fantastic to me. So that's one I would pick there. The next one kind of goes without saying. I don't have to talk much about the songs themselves because, everyone knows the debut of Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. The thing that I just always kind of hail about this album is, this came out back during the kind of the heytime, if you will, the heyday of the whole glam and hair metal type thing. And back, it was 87, 88, 87, 87. And so again, glam and hair was so big, and for them to just kind of come in and say, we're going to take it back just to that old, down, gritty, in your face, almost Southern style rock and roll. Not, you know what I mean when I say that. They just took it back to the gritty place, and really just kind of blew it up. I mean, again, it's Appetite for Destruction. So fantastic debut, and of course the follow up that I'm counting as the Sloppy Seconds is this great masterpiece, which is Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1. And again, we're saying using that term sloppy seconds, but this is a fantastic album. I mean, a classic album. And the thing I remember about it, though, is when it came out and I went and bought it, because I'm thinking, okay, here comes Appetite for Destruction 2. And I just remember, listening to it and just thinking, that's not on the same level as Appetite for Destruction. This is way back then. Now, the more I listened to it, this grew on me more and more, and now it's one of those albums that I just think is, a fantastic album. But in general, compared to Appetite, yeah, it's just not on the same level. So I'll call that a sloppy seconds for this contest purpose. The next one, and this is one you actually had playing in your video, and I think it's a perfect call too. Stone Temple Pilots Core. When this album came out, I freaking loved it. I still love it to this day. And even now, when I think about all the stuff that I have in my collection, whether you're talking about Slayer, Testament, Napalm Death, just kind of whatever. This still, I would say, is one of the top 5 heaviest albums that I own, without question. Heaviest albums, period. And, sometimes, at least in my mind, heavy is not necessarily about down tuning, or is about, speed, or how far you're going down the thrash scale, or the all that kind of stuff. But it's more so like the punch behind the groove, if you will. Just like the wall of sound, or the wall of power that hits you off of an album. So that doesn't have as much to do with, again, speed and strictly guitar tones and all that type of stuff. And so by those particular standards, in my mind, this album is freaking heavy. Like, every song is just, it's thick and it's murky, and it's just kind of, it's full. There's no holes in the songs. And again, I don't know if it makes sense to anyone else. When I think about how it feels to me and what I hear, those are kind of the words that come to mind. So very, very high on my pedestal of just fantastic debuts, and definitely an album I still listen to a lot. Just played it in my car a couple days ago. So when you come to the follow-up, which is Purple, which still is, again, a fantastic album, but does it quite live up to Core, in my opinion? No. But again, it's an album that a lot of bands would kill to have as part of their discography, because it's a fantastic album. The next one here is kind of a band that most people either love to death or they completely hate. I find very little in between with this band, but personally I like them. And I'm going with Disturbed. And this is The Sickness, which is actually out of the box set. And again, another just kind of classic debut album. Great songs on here. Just a lot of great stuff. We have songs like Down with the Sickness and Stupefy, and which is kind of the original tracks that brought me to Disturbed. And then the follow-up was Believe. So, and then again, some great songs, songs like Prayer and a few other things on here, which are kind of pretty good, but I still don't think it kind of measures up to The Sickness. And last but not least, this is one, I have a new pile that I've started of just things that I spend very, very regularly. So I don't put these records back in the stacks. And right now, I only have about 7 or 8 records that I have sitting in there. Because I don't want to just put anything in there, but truly stuff that I listen to all the time. So that was one of the reasons I pulled this one out as one of my albums, because I don't even have the follow-up. But it kind of says something when this debut is so fantastic that it's in my 1 out of 7 or 8 albums that I'm spinning all the time right now. and I heard listen to the follow-up and could not stand it whatsoever. So talk about a true sloppy second. It's from the band Blouse. And I showed this in a video when I picked it up, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago or something like that. But yeah, again, a fantastic debut album. I really love just about every single song on this album. And, you know, I kind of just discovered it out of the blue. Just as I think someone, I don't know if someone on a video mentioned it or I stumbled across it when just playing around on iTunes. But yeah, love this and went out and picked it up. And then I kind of looked and saw, oh, they have another album that came out a couple years later called, is it Imperium? Imperium? Something like that. And I went and kind of pulled it up and listened to it and just thought, is that the same band? Just like, it came nowhere near this album. So one that became such a favorite for me so fast, and the follow-up is just was so awful to me that I'm not even going to consider buying it at all. So just figured I'd show that one, even though I don't have the sloppy second one to actually show. But Blouse is a fantastic band there. All right, so again, man, congratulations on the subs. Glad I made myself sit down here for a moment and do a response. Again, I'll be around looking forward to your next 500 subs contest. And as always, VC, let me know what you think. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.